this year's offseason is going to be absolutely crazy, man. I mean, wow. Anyway, what's up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants related type video. It's going to be more about the 2021 offseason and just how, I don't know, just how insane it's going to be. You know, I said it's going to be crazy because of the quarterback situation, the quarterback carousel that's going to be played this year. Now, last year, it wasn't even that big of a QB carousel, but it was, you know, it had some pretty impactful moves. You know, Rivers going from Chargers to Indiana. Of course, the most impactful one being Brady going from New England to the Bucks. And, well, you know, him and the Bucks are now in the Super Bowl again. There's just so many things, right? We all know how much one quarterback moving to a different situation can really affect that team and affect that, you know, the situation, their playoff hopes and all that type of stuff, right? And now, this year, we're stuck with probably the most in NFL history, in my opinion. There's like, what, at least 10? And by the time I list them off, I think I'll probably get somewhere to 15. I'm just going to meet in the middle and say there's like around 13 QB situations right now in the NFL that could all, you know, all these teams could either end up with a new quarterback. I don't think that would happen, by the way. That would be absolutely crazy if all 13 teams end up with a new quarterback. But at the very least, I want to say at least half of them, will get a new quarterback or a QB change in some type of way before the offseason is done and over with. And depending on when it happens, and I really do think it's going to happen within the next 2 months or so, because the draft is coming up and all these teams are thinking about the draft, is going to monumentally impact that draft. It's one of the reasons I said in my mock draft video, which, by the way, if you haven't checked out, New York Giants full 6-round mock draft, check it out. It's one of the reasons I said it was way too early to do this, because free agency hasn't happened yet. I didn't mean that just for the Giants in terms of, oh, I got to see who we sign and the positions that we address before I look at the positions that we draft, you know, and the position we try to address in the draft, which happens at the free agency. No, it also meant the teams in the draft itself, you know what I'm saying? All 32 teams, specifically the ones ahead of us, right? Because there are teams ahead of us that before, like, let's say 2 weeks ago, we're not really looking for a new quarterback, and then today, all of a sudden, they might be looking for a new quarterback. And if that's the case, it really does affect who is available at the 11th overall pick. And so now, you know, let's kind of just go over these teams, right? I have a list right here. We got the Jets, who are obviously ahead of us, but everybody knew that they might be looking for a quarterback. We'll see how that goes, whether they draft one or not. Because if they draft one, then, well, I think the Giants are already prepared for that. If they don't, that's kind of good for us. It means just one more player going to drop to us. Because if they don't, they're probably going to trade back or take Penny Sewell or something. We'll see what happens, right? Because, you know, the Deshaun Watson talks are in talk right now. Well, speaking of which, Deshaun Watson and the Houston Texans, they don't have a first-round pick, but who did it go to? It went to the Miami Dolphins, who are also in the Deshaun Watson trade talks. Now, I don't think that they should go and trade for Deshaun, because I really want them to stick with Tua and see how he develops, but there is a possibility. So think about that as well. That's back-to-back picks right there in the Jets and Texans that will be directly affected by this thing right here. I said back-to-back, make it 3 in a row. The Atlanta Falcons. This is a team that might get a new quarterback this offseason. Now, this depends, right? It doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to start a new quarterback, and that's why I said, you know, is the QB situation in general, that's kind of a carousel. I do think that the Falcons could be one of those teams that drafts a quarterback at 4th overall, which definitely is going to be available there. You're definitely going to have one of the top 3 guys available there, but they might sit him for a year or something. Either way, that's a pick that was not expected to happen, say, 2 weeks ago, that now affects the entire draft after it in the Atlanta Falcons. And then after that, we kind of got 4 teams in a row. I mean, you could argue 3, because the first one in Philadelphia, we're not sure what the Eagles are going to do right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not clear. If I had to bet my money on it, I'm going to say they stick with Carson Wentz. But if there is a chance that they take a QB, Philadelphia is in there. But it's really the 3 teams after Philadelphia. You got Carolina, who's for sure looking to not get a... Detroit first, actually, then Carolina. So you got Detroit, who have basically confirmed, yeah, them and Matthew Stafford, they're done. Thank God Matthew Stafford is free, so they're definitely going to get a new quarterback. You got Carolina, they're looking to move away from the bridge, like I was about to say. You know, Teddy Bridgewater is a good bridge quarterback. They might be looking to get their franchise guy in the draft. Who knows? You got Denver, who I think the Drew Lock experiment, I'm not sure if they're going to give it one more year. Maybe they should, maybe they shouldn't. We'll ultimately see what happens, but it's basically been proven, even before they took Drew Lock, that that John Elway just doesn't know how to draft quarterbacks, man. It's unfortunate, but John Elway, one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play, just can't draft his own position. That's how it is, and the Broncos might be a team taking a quarterback. Within the top 10 right there, remember the Giants are sitting right outside 11. Within the top 10, we have Jets, Miami, Falcons, Philly, Detroit, Carolina, Broncos. So at most, that's 7 teams in the top 10 that might be gunning for a new quarterback, whether it's free agency or draft. And then at the very least, I think it would be Carolina, Detroit, Falcons, and Jets. So at the very least 4, at the very most 7. That's a lot, and that's quite a big impact. And we shouldn't just focus on the top 10, because teams can trade up, which means teams behind us as well would be very affected in this offseason, in this QB carousel. Maybe they trade up to get somebody if they don't find their guy in free agency. Now, teams that are looking for quarterbacks, I think, of course, would be San Fran at pick 12. Although I will say the smartest thing for San Fran to do will be to go in free agency or in the trade market and get one of these guys. Of course, the Patriots at 15. Cam Newton, I don't even know if they really expected him to work out like that, because they only gave him a 1-year deal to begin with. Either way, I don't think they're going to stick with Jarrett Stidham either. I don't know. Stiddy is not the guy. Otherwise, he would have gotten quite a bit more starts than Cam, considering that Cam wasn't really his MVP form this season, to put it very, very lightly. But the Patriots for sure are going to be looking for somebody. Our own division rival, Washington, who were literally a quarterback away. Now, this one I've had people say, well, what about Alex Smith? They got Alex Smith. You're completely right. It's no secret that whenever Alex Smith starts for this team, in 2018, it could have led them to the playoffs. And, this year in 2020 did lead them to the playoffs. I think he had 5 wins as their starter this year, and that's no small feat. But they're definitely going to be looking for, a healthier, younger, more franchise-type guy than Alex Smith. Even if it's a similar situation to the Falcons, where it's like, even if they do take a quarterback in the first round, they're probably going to sit him behind Smith for a year. And Smith is honestly the perfect guy for that. We saw it in Kansas City, and he's a great all-around leader and a really good quarterback. But I think we could all safely say that they're in the QB market as well. Right behind Washington, you got the Bears at 20, and then the Colts at 21. Both of these teams 100% in the QB market. That's another three-peat right there. Of course, the Bears, they're definitely going to look to move past Mr. Trubisky. And the Colts, Philip Rivers retired, so they're definitely in the market as well. No secret there. And then to kind of close it off, you got 2 more teams who are kind of, you could make the argument, but you also could not make the argument. You got the Steelers at 24. And I really do think they should move on from Big Ben. Whether or not they do it, they could really just stick with him, because that's what the Steelers do. You know what I'm saying? They do have a lot of money tied to Ben. I think they really should move on from him. Forget that one playoff performance that was trash against the Browns. He had a really bad season where he just looked old. There's no way around it. They should move on from him. I don't know if they will, though. And then, of course, the Saints at 28, but they already got Jameis there. And it looked like Drew Brees was, speaking to Jameis, saying that this is his team now. And I would love for Jameis to just step in and take over the Saints. Fact of the matter is, Drew Brees ain't the GM. He ain't the owner. We don't know if that's what's going to happen. That's why I'm like, these 2 teams right here, kind of iffy. But look at all of those NFL franchises that I just listed, bro. That's like half of the entire league. This is unprecedented. I think I listed like 14. And that's without even bringing up Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay, which we don't know what's happening right now. That would make it 15. Now, of course, that's at most. That's the most extreme. 15, which is literally like half of the league. Like my big estimate from the beginning. Now, I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to be back with Green Bay, at least for one more season. The relationship there has been frayed. We all see that. The press conference revealed that. But there's certain teams where I'm just like, nah, I think they're going to stick with him one more year. I think that he's going to stick with them for one more year. But that is a lot. And if we quickly eliminate teams that probably would not be in the QB carousel, like the Packers, like the Saints, Steelers, who I do think may stick with Ben, even though I really think they should move on. Maybe Washington doesn't take somebody. Who knows? Maybe they do say we're gonna tough it out with Taylor Heineke, and we're gonna tough it out with Alex Smith for another year. That's 4 teams out the mix. Of course, you could take out the Eagles. That's 5 teams out the mix. Maybe take out the Falcons, but I'll leave the Falcons in there. Take out the Dolphins. Let's say that, right? So that's 6 teams out the mix out of the original 15. That is still 9 teams in the NFL, with the majority of them in the top 10 ahead of the New York Giants. that will be looking for a new quarterback somehow, someway this offseason. And that really affects it. That really affects who drops to us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just going to kind of throw this idea out there to kind of end the video off on. I think this reinforces my claim that there's definitely going to be one of those top 3 wide receivers at 11, just because of these teams' needs have really shifted in the past month. But there's going to be somebody great there at 11 for the Giants. But it's just interesting to look at this at a whole NFL level. Wow, we're going to see some incredible changes this offseason. Put your thoughts down below. Let me know what you all think. Like, share, subscribe, and I'm out. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. I'll catch y'all in the next one.